This land of the Rus stood at the fraught intersections of civilizations and trade routes. With Vikings to its north, the expanding Arab Empire to its south, and raiding Turkic tribes to its east, Russia was permanently in the grip of conflating temptations and fears. Too far to the east to have experienced the Roman Empire, though Tsars claimed the Caesars as their political and etymological forebears, Christian, but looking to the Orthodox Church in Constantinople rather than Rome for spiritual authority, Russia was close enough to Europe to share a common cultural vocabulary, yet perpetually out of phase with the continent's historical trends. The experience would leave Russia a uniquely Eurasian power, sprawling across two continents but never entirely at home in either. The most profound disjunction had come with the Mongol invasions of the 13th century, which subdued a politically divided Russia and razed Kiev. 2.5 centuries of Mongol suzerainty, 1237 to 1480, and the subsequent struggle to restore a coherent state based around the Duchy of Moscow imposed on Russia an eastward orientation just as Western Europe was charting the new technological and intellectual vistas that would create the modern era. During Europe's era of seaborne discovery, Russia was laboring to reconstitute itself as an independent nation and shore up its borders against threats from all directions. As the Protestant Reformation impelled political and religious diversity in Europe, Russia translated the fall of its own religious lodestar, Constantinople and the Eastern Roman Empire, to Muslim invaders in 1453 into an almost mystical conviction that Russia's Tsar was now, as the monk Philo Faey wrote to Ivan III around 1500, the sole emperor of all the Christians in the whole universe, with a messianic calling to regain the fallen Byzantine capital for Christendom. Europe was coming to embrace its multipolarity as a mechanism tending toward balance, but Russia was learning its sense of geopolitics from the hard school of the steppe, where an array of nomadic hordes contended for resources on an open terrain with few fixed borders. There, raids for plunder and the enslavement of foreign civilians were regular occurrences, for some a way of life. Independence was coterminous with the territory a people could physically defend. Russia affirmed its tie to Western culture, but even as it grew exponentially in size, came to see itself as a beleaguered outpost of civilization for which security could be found only through exerting its absolute will over its neighbors. In the Westphalian concept of order, European statesmen came to identify security with a balance of power and with restraints on its exercise. In Russia's experience of history, restraints on power spelled catastrophe. Russia's failure to dominate its surroundings, in this view, had exposed it to the Mongol invasions and plunged it into its nightmarish time of troubles, a 15-year dynastic interregnum before the founding of the Romanov dynasty in 1613, in which invasions, civil wars, and famine claimed a third of Russia's population. The Peace of Westphalia saw international order as an intricate balancing mechanism. The Russian view cast it as a perpetual contest of wills, with Russia extending its domain at each phase to the absolute limit of its material resources. Thus, when asked to define Russia's foreign policy, the mid-17th century Tsar Alexei's minister Nashchokin offered a straightforward description: expanding the state in every direction, and this is the business of the Department of Foreign Affairs. This process developed into a national outlook and propelled the one-time Duchy of Moscow across the Eurasian landmass to become the world's territorially largest empire. In a slow, seemingly irresistible expansionist urge that would remain unabated until 1917. Thus, the American man of letters Henry Adams recorded the outlook of the Russian ambassador in Washington in 1903, by which point Russia had reached Korea. His political philosophy, like that of all Russians, seemed fixed on the single idea that